Welcome into Chic and Ball. I'm your host, Els the Truth. Thank you for tuning in and watching. On today's show, we look back at the Las Vegas Aces season from 2024. Let's start with the team performance, Coach Becky Hammon, then we'll talk about the players. The team went 5-5 in its first 10 games. People went crazy, thought that was the end of the Aces as a championship team. Then they went 22-8 to finish the season with an overall record of 27-13. Even with the team's key players missing games, the Aces still finished first on offense. Now, where they struggled was on defense, finishing right in the middle at number 6. And I said this during one of my mock drafts, the Aces need to take the motto of the New York Liberty and put a real legit big next to Asia the way they put Jonquel next to Stewie. Now Stewie's an MVP and looked like an all-time great on defense, when really it's JJ and Queen B taking on the best players on defense, and Sabrina Ionescu and Stewie can just roam free and run a break. Now don't play crazy, Becky Hammon, she know what's going on out there. She was one of the best floor generals and she doing a great job with this team. I think she the best coach in the league. Now to be fair, this team has been number 1 in offense since 2020, which is probably one of the craziest stats in sports history. How in the world are you number 1 in offense for 4 years, especially with the turnover on teams every year? But seriously, it ain't much we need to say about Becky Hammon. She's a champion and she ain't going nowhere. Now let's talk about every player that suited up in the Aces uniform, starting with Dyaisha Fair. Only played in 1 game for the Aces. I'm still upset they ruined their chances of Rookie of the Year and didn't even give her a real chance to play on the team. But I think as the league expands, she'll find her way back. Players with this kind of productivity in college usually carve out some kind of niche in the league. Now let's talk about a former Mississippi State Bulldog, Jessika Carter. She only played in 2 games for the Aces. Once other players on the team got healthy, she was unfortunately the cap casualty. She was originally drafted in the 2nd round by the Liberty. She played in a preseason game, then they waived her, and she hasn't signed with any other teams yet. Now let's talk about Queen Egbo. Played in 3 games for Vegas, shot 33% from the field. I thought she looked pretty good in the time that she was on the court. Apparently I ain't the only one, because she just signed a training camp contract to try out for the Aces in 2025. Now let's talk about Emma Cannon. She played in 5 games for Vegas, only scored 2 field goals total and got 1 minute per game. I don't know what you can do with that kind of time. She handled it just like what she is, a veteran. She's played on 4 different teams over 9 seasons, and she'll be looking to make it a 5th team as she signed a training camp contract with the Los Angeles Sparks for 2025. Now let's talk about KB, Kierstan Bell. The one thing I love about Kierstan is she don't play much, but she still do enough to stay on this team, and she's been on this team for 3 straight years. I think once she gets a real chance, she'll be able to make the most of it. Got injured in 2024 and only played in 6 games. Now let's talk about Tiffany Hayes. After retiring from the W, she came out of retirement and played a major role for the Aces this past year. Won 6th Woman of the Year, averaged 9.5 points over 33 games. And let me just say this, I don't know who the Aces know in the league office, but this Aces team has won the last 5 of 6 6th Women of the Year awards. Let's get real, y'all gotta start spreading it around. The Aces ain't the only team with good bench players. Now let's talk about a former UConn Husky, Kiah Stokes. She played in 39 games for the Aces. Really good player, but didn't have her best year. She struggled all year to score consistently and only averaged 1 point in 18 minutes. To put that in perspective, in the Aces' last 2 championship seasons, Kiah shot 51% from the field and 33% from 3 in the playoffs. In 2024, she didn't score no points at all in the playoffs. Hopefully she bounced back because they're going to need her if they want to make another title run.
Everyone has to do their job. From the players to the reps to the coaches, we all have to do our job. And I don't appreciate being looked at and stared at as if you're trying to intimidate me or act like I don't have a voice on this court. So yes, we are messing up defensively, and it's like we're not engaged, and we need to get engaged, and that's on us. But also it goes hand in hand, and that's it. And if I get fined for this, I'm terribly sorry, but it's ridiculous. We've been going through this all season, so everybody got to do their job.
Now let's talk about Chelsea Gray. Played in 27 games for the Aces. Couldn't really round all the way back into form after coming back from injury. Only averaged 8 points in 2024, but her field goal percentage was down from 49% to 40%, and her three-point percentage was down from 42% to 33%. One of the major factors in this team struggling in big games. It got worse in the playoffs, where she shot 38% from the field and 28% from 3. So she'll be looking to bounce back in 2025. Now let's talk about Megan Gustafson. The pride of Wisconsin, the alum of the Iowa Hawkeyes, one of the best players in women's college basketball history, played in 38 games for the Aces, only averaged 3 points, but I think it's only a matter of time before she starts really putting together some great performances. You can't be that great of a scorer and rebounder in college then not show some of it in a W. In her final year at Iowa, she averaged 28 and 13, and she wasn't even a first-round pick. Now let's talk about Sydney Colson. A fan favorite in Vegas, fan favorite around the league. She played here when they were the Silver Stars, played 110 games in the Aces uniform, 31 games in 2024. One of the best locker room people, and I think that will help the Fever where she'll be playing in 2025. Now let's talk about Plum Dog, Kelsey Plum. Came into the year completely unfiltered, going through some stuff off the court, but she shook it off, had a really good season, made the All-Star team, played all 8 years in the W with this franchise, and now she'll be in LA with Cam and Rakia after being traded for Jewel Lloyd. Now let's talk about the Middle Tennessee Blue Raider, Alysha Clark. Everywhere she goes, winning follows. What's remarkable about Alysha is that she wasn't a three-point shooter in college. She carved out a niche in the W and has made her successful and one of the best shooters in WNBA history. She did something not a lot of players do. Focus on a particular part of her game and master it. After 2 rings and the 6th Woman of the Year award, she'll be going back to Seattle, where she spent 9 seasons before joining the Aces. Now let's talk about Kate Money Martin. Played far better than anyone think that she would have. I think it was really good for her going to this team because she learned a lot from players like Alysha Clark, Tiffany Hayes, where you can tell that she understands that she needs to carve out a niche in this league. And let me tell you exactly what she's good at. This past season, she shot 50% of her three-pointers from the corner, and she hit 40% of those threes. So if she can keep playing that Bruce Bowen-like role, I think she can be in this league for a long time. Now let's talk about Jackie Young. Played in 37 games for the Aces, also kind of had a down year. Field goal percentage was way down from 52% to 43%. and 3-point percentage was down from 45% to 33%. And I think the regression from her, Kiah Stokes, and Chelsea Gray is really why this team didn't look good all year. Yeah, they won games, but not like they was winning in the past 2 years. You could tell very early in the year that this team wasn't going to win a championship. Now let's talk about the young GOAT, A'ja Wilson. Won her 3rd MVP, earned and deserved, led the league in points, 27 per game, and blocks, 2.6 per game. She also had the highest usage rate, and you see that dog mentality on the court, but off the court, she won the Dawn Staley Community Leadership Award. She also scored the most points ever in a single season, even though she didn't play in all 40 games. And when you look at the record books, the other players in 2nd and 3rd place also played 37 or more games, and she still cleared them by more than 80 points. She also tied the record for most free throws shot in a single season with 287. I know I keep saying it, but if only she can have a 6'6" player next to her, it will open up the floor way more for her on both ends. The reason I say that is because in the playoffs, when the Aces went up against the Liberty, Jonquel Jones guarded A'ja the whole series. And A'ja played well, but if you really watch the games and the outcome, you will see that A'ja didn't hit her point average of 27 the entire series. The most points she scored in that series was 24 points in a Game 2 loss, and she scored 19 twice. And that's no slight to her because she's still a great player, she's still the best player in the W, but even the best player need help sometimes. And with all that said, A'ja Wilson is one of the hungriest players in the league. I know she coming back. She want to be the best player in history, so you're going to have to keep dealing with this for another few years. But there you have it, another episode of Chic and Ball. I really hope y'all enjoyed the show. If so, hit that like button, hit that share button, comment your thoughts, good or bad. We only got a few teams left, and I hope this is getting y'all ready for another storybook season. And that's all I'll say for now. Thank you again for listening and watching. I'm Els for PRNM. Talk to you on the next one.